have reached a new stage of NBA Central where we're going to be going division by division in the NBA and talking about each team in that division, our expectations, their offseason, all that. We're going to start that on today's episode. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
All right, basketball fans, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. We got C-Dub, Big Kev, Bobby, myself, Haize, all in the building today. And we're going to start off going division by division with the Atlantic Division. They do have the defending NBA champions in this division, and that's the team we're going to start with. So when you look at the Boston Celtics, they made no major changes at all to their roster this offseason. No huge departures, no huge additions, nothing at all. When you look at the Boston Celtics coming into next season, how do you guys feel about the fact that they didn't make any change? You feel very confident that keep in mind they were a 14-game lead above any team in the Eastern Conference, the next one closest to them. They also had one of the best net ratings at 11, the best net rating. They outscored their opponents by 11.7 via their brand of defense and offense last season. How you guys feeling about the Boston Celtics heading into the season?
I would just to say I don't think they needed to make any moves. They still in a prime position to make a run at a repeat. Their superstars are still in their prime, and Tatum and Brown. You got some great all-star caliber players in Drew Holiday and Porzingis, and you got great, maybe the best in the league role player in Derek White. You got a nice little bench come in and give you some great minutes. They're poised to make a great run at this repeat without any moves, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily like the best moves they made were prior to last season when they got rid of Marcus Smart and they brought back Al Horford. They brought over Kristaps Porzingis. That was a championship formula. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Drew Holiday is an unsung hero for this team. He does all the little things as well as Derek White. And, you know, off the bench, they just rotate a bunch of different players. They don't really rely on their bench too tough in terms of scoring and or minutes. But hey, man, these guys are going to probably have a better chance to repeat than anybody has in the last 10 years. We haven't seen a repeat since Golden State did it, right? If I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm feeling really confident now. As far as how far ahead they were in the division, I think the Knicks did enough to at least pick up some of them games. They're not going to be
talking about them next.
Yeah, they're not going to be 14 games behind, but I think that the Boston Celtics are good where they are, man. Especially if they can stay healthy, and that's a big if with players like Kristaps Porzingis. But you know,
Yeah, I think that the Boston Celtics right now they're in a really good spot. I mean, it wasn't that many moves to make. Like Kev alluded to, he said if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that these guys did the absolute right thing with making sure that Drew Holiday is here for the foreseeable future. Derek White, you lock up your two young guys that are your stars in this. In the when you talk about the starting five for the Boston Celtics, they could pretty much switch out just about anything. And there's, you know what I'm saying, like you have your guys. Some people still gonna say the number one is Jason Tatum. Others gonna feel that it's Jaylen Brown. And honestly, you can't go wrong with that.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. So because Jason Tatum not necessarily didn't have the best playoffs, but he was able to fill in other ways and just allow Jaylen Brown to do him. Now, who's to say that when it comes down to the next playoff series or matchups that they go in potentially this upcoming season, it can absolutely be reversed. And then it can go the other way and they'll still be in good hands. When you talk about Sam Hauser and those other guys that's coming in off the bench, yeah, they're gonna rely on them a little bit, but you don't necessarily have to sit your starting five all at the same time. So that's the luxury that they have right now in front of them to where they can still be able to compete. And me, honestly, I'm still got them going number one in the East.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think I got the Boston Celtics still being number one team in the East as well. I think they didn't, to everybody's point, they didn't need to make any major changes. You don't fix something after you had the run during the regular season and then the run that you had in the postseason. Now, I know some people are going to say they had an easier run in the postseason because every team that they faced had a major injury. That's not all up to them. They can't control that. They beat who was in front of them. And because of that, they have the right to have some confidence. So there's some injury concerns, things like that. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Keep in mind, how old is Al Horford now?
93.
Ancient. Like 100.
He's 93. That dude, he won national championships in 2004 and 2005. or something like that with Florida.
Bro,
How old is Al Horford? Al
He's gotta be
Horford
like
is
38.
38 years old.
Yeah,
We
he
talk a
19.
lot about LeBron. That's crazy. Now he's not doing what LeBron's doing clearly, but the fact that Al Horford still goes off for one game in the series as well at 38 years old is crazy. Shout out
Oh
to Al
yeah,
Horford.
That's
shout
a
out to
dog.
him. And
Shout
he
out to
finally
that
got
vet.
his chip too. He finally got his ring.
Hell
Shout out
yeah.
to Buddy.
Yep. Shout out to him for getting that. So yeah, I mean they have the right to have all the confidence in the world, and we're going to see if they can repeat. Now there are going to be some teams. One of the teams that I think is going to give them the most problem in trying to repeat is a team still in their division, and that's the New York Knicks. New York Knicks have faced, as far as major acquisitions this offseason, trading for Mikal Bridges, major departures, Isaiah Hartenstein leaving this team, which really leaves them with he was their most consistent big as far as his ability to be on the court. Yes, they still have Mitchell Robinson there. Yes, they still have Julius Randle there, but it's a question whether those guys will help become playoff time. But what they have done is they've doubled down on defense and the perimeter play there. And so now they have these interchangeable wings now with the addition of Mikal Bridges, re-signing OG Anunoby. You still got Josh Hart there as well. How do you guys feel about the New York Knicks and their chances coming into the season?
I like the New York Knicks. They're going to be good throughout the season. When you look at the additions they made, especially Mikal Bridges, he's going to be an upgrade at the small forward position. They still going to keep Josh Hart. I don't even know how they're going to end up with the start lineup. I can't wait to see how they start off with their starting lineup. But I'm just worried. They're really counting on Mitchell Robinson to be healthy for a whole season. I love Isaiah Hartenstein. He is going to be missed by the New York Knicks. And there's some bigs in the East now that you gotta take care of. Now you got Porzingis and Horford, and you got Embiid over there. So I don't know. Mitchell Robinson, is you sure he healthy enough to? Because they're gonna get through the regular season. They're gonna be okay. They're gonna win games. When it comes to when you got to play the best team, best of the best. I don't know if they line up with Mitchell Robinson, bro.
I
Worried.
mean, the New York Villanova Wildcats, they're gonna be a good team, but the biggest question for them is always going to be health. Because not just Mitchell Robinson, but your boy Julius Randle got to stay healthy. Jalen Brunson was phenomenal last season, but by the time he got to the second round of the playoffs, he was dinged up, couldn't even finish really. Your Precious Achuas, your Bogdanovich is a little bit older. I don't know, man, about this team. I'm excited
And
to see. So go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, just the input of that as always. You're talking about health. OG Anunoby needs to get put on that list as well, as far as if
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
worried about
now.
players with being
Yep.
healthy.
Yep.
Exactly. So when you're talking about a Tom Thibodeau coach team, so for whatever reason that seems to happen to his teams, and we discussed this on a prior episode when he signed his contract extension, that he's not running his players into the ground like he used to, but he's still going to have that moniker attached or that narrative attached to his teams. These guys are going to have to eat right, stretch, exercise, all those good things to keep their bodies intact because it's a long, grueling season, and I'm not sold at their center with their center. I'm just not. Mitchell he just doesn't do it for me. I feel like the New York Knicks aren't going to get over the hump until they shore up that position and maybe make a move mid-season. Maybe get a Vooch out there, even though he's slow. But maybe get a player like Vooch on that team, and then I can change how I feel about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised by the New York Knicks going out and drafting Tyler Kolek, who is a really good point guard. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
in the second round, but there were some other bigs you could have went in there to kind of help shore up
Absolutely.
your big position. And I'm
Mhm.
surprised that I think I know why they did, which I'll get into. It more of a long term play, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bobby. I think you're finna say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna chime in on it. And pretty much go agree with C Dub and Big Kev and pretty much say, like, yeah, I believe that when you talk about the Knicks, when they talk about the wings that you need to go against a Boston and potentially looking at 76ers and how they gonna match up, I absolutely think that you're gonna need that. But I'm on the side of Big Kev. Like, I like Mitchell Robinson when he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? And right now you got Jericho Sims. I seen how athletic he is, but for me, from not making too many moves, it appears that the New York Knicks want him to take a huge step forward. You know what I'm saying? And I know Precious Achiuwa is a guy that they still have on the roster, but he's 6'8". He doesn't necessarily have the size that's going to be necessary when you got to go against, let's say, if you match up with Boston Or if you match up with the Sixers, and you talk about the West, if you match up with the Nuggets, you match up with the Lakers or some of the other taller, bigger teams over there as well. They missing some size, but overall, I like where they at. But they're gonna have to overcome a lot of stuff. But I will say this: that they got the heart, and they play extremely hard. And sometimes you can overcome certain deficiencies with just having that heart. So we'll see. But they in a good spot.
So I have the same concern that you guys share about the bigs, but I'm going to raise another concern for the nature of the conversation that I was going to bring up anyway. Is that the problem that I see on top of the injury concerns is the fact that the New York Knicks have only one on-ball creator on their team, and that's Jalen Brunson. And I worry about the on-ball creation. If Jalen Brunson is hurt, banged, not 100%, the New York Knicks offense it very much so reminds me of the Chicago Bulls team that Tom Thibodeau coached. Now, even with Derrick Rose, when it was Nate Robinson, the one who was the point guard for that team, because he was the only one who created on ball. And the moment that you were able to slow him down again because of his size, it put everybody back into that. Now we're a jump shooting team. And what we've seen in the NBA, that typically doesn't work. You need an on-ball creator, especially when you have, some of the limitations that this team has overall. And so that is a huge concern that I have. Now, Jalen Brunson is typically healthy. Jalen Brunson finished the season playing at an almost MVP level. If he comes into that and sustains that this whole season, sky's the limit. This was a team that was top 10 in offensive rating, top 10 in defensive rating. So there's a lot of that you can look at that is going to carry over, maybe even get better a little bit. But that on-ball shot creation is just something that I'm worried about, because we know Tom Thibodeau, he got a defensive bag. He's not the best offensive-minded coach. So I'm a little bit concerned about that aspect of it, especially when you get into the playoffs.
For sure. I had one quick question. Do you think that the expectation is the next on-ball creator could be Mikal Bridges for them? Simply because like I was seeing his role change when he went to Brooklyn. Do you think that they banking on that?
I think so. I think, to agree, absolutely, they're banking on that. And that's why I think also you look at, they brought in Campaign, they brought in Tyler Kolek as well. We're not point guards that I'll say are necessarily on-ball creators. They're really solid distributors. So maybe you're hoping in that aspect, if you're getting everything kind of going out on the perimeter, but it's going to be, I guess it kind of has to be Mikal Bridges. And that's where it comes in at, is that if you're bringing Mikal Bridges off the bench, which it seems like they're going to do, which is weird, especially with Julius Randle, at least then you have your best on-ball creator in your starting lineup, and then you're building another one who can create some, in Mikal Bridges off the bench. So maybe they're hoping to balance it that way.
They're going to flip Julius Randle.
I was going to say
this
that
season. I can see
they
it
got
now.
to, right? They got to.
I see a little bit redundancy in them with these lineup.
Yeah, they're gonna have to turn Julius Randle into
a big.
Yeah,
they got to go get a big,
either a big or a person that could create. And I mean, I don't think they're gonna even consider looking at a Zach LaVine, but like a Zach LaVine on that squad could be good, depending on how they put their lineups out there. I'm just saying, like, the type of player that Zach LaVine is, we know he can create his own shot. And I'm not trying to say that the Bulls will go after Julius Randle, because they don't seem like the type of thing that AK does. But at the end of the day, Julius Randle is gonna have to go. He's the odd man out in terms of the style of play that this team is gonna be coming up with. I just don't see him fitting into the future long term, and I'm pretty sure he got some contract stuff coming up too.
Well, the thing with Julius, and I think I just am being remiss. Like, Julius Randle can create some on ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem is that he's okay at it, but he's very turnover prone the more you have him handling the ball.
Yeah.
So maybe they're hoping that can come and help, but he is an expiring contract. Well, he has a player option for next season. So if they do decide to move him, this will be the year to do that.
And that step back that he do is ass. He can't go right either. So like, it's one of those are two things that
he still can't go right.
No, he literally goes left every single time, bro.
Well, we've been saying this for 4 years. You ain't trying to get that right hand together, bro.
At all.
Come on, man.
Anyway, y'all cool on the Knicks? You already to move on?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's talk about the next team. Still, of course, we're staying in the division. The Philadelphia 76ers. Major additions for the 76ers: Paul George, Caleb Martin, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson. Key departures: Tobias Harris, Nicholas Batum, DeAnthony Melton, Paul Reed. They also didn't they add somebody else recently that may not be on this list?
No, I don't recall.
No? Okay. Maybe I'm tripping on that one. How you guys feeling about the Philadelphia? The team that probably has had the most turnover this year as far as changing the roster, which everybody kind of expected when they had as many players up for contract. The contracts were up at the end of the season. They wanted to rebuild solidly on the fly to try to convince. It seems like they're terrified, and they should be, of Joel Embiid asking for a trade. How do you feel that they've done in retooling this roster?
I think they did a tremendous job retooling this roster. If you look at the additions, first off, Paul George, come on now, that's a superstar. He's going to be standing next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. These guys absolutely play basketball with the ass closed. They're professional to the highest degree. Then you add in supplemental players like Andre Drummond could come off the bench, and we know what he can do. We've been Chicago Bulls fans. He's been playing with us for the last couple of years. He instantly comes in the game. It's going to get you 10 and 10. And then you can add on the other guys, Robert Covington, Eric Gordon, Caleb Martin. I just think they did a
That's who
fantastic.
That's who I didn't have is Caleb Martin. That's who they had.
Okay. Yeah. Eric Gordon, Caleb Martin. They just have a terrific competing team. And this is actually the team that I think that's going to come out of the East. That's me.
Oh, you got the Philadelphia 76ers.
I got the Philadelphia 76ers.
So we can go ahead and just write that off as a no. If Dub is saying they definitely not coming out the East, that's one. Two,
that's weird as hell.
Paul George is reaching overrated status, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness.
It's just the truth, man. He went to OKC, nothing. Went to the Clippers, nothing. And he's coming over to Philly to try to recreate himself, and I don't think it's going to really work. I need Joel Embiid to stay healthy as well. That's a big thing with him. Yeah. He has knee issues. It's been a problem since he came into the league. Even during his MVP run, I think he missed a few games. The reason they changed the rules is probably because of Joel Embiid in terms of how many games you got to play in order to be considered for major postseason awards. And I look at Philly the same way I look at them every year, man. They kind of remind me of that Atlanta Hawks team that Coach Budenholzer coached. They would do all right in the regular season and just not bring anything in the postseason. I don't think they're going to give Boston a run for their money. I don't think they're better than the Knicks even. They might not even be better than Cleveland, in my opinion. So I'm just not high on the Philadelphia 76ers, especially the way Joel Embiid plays, man. Like I don't know, man. It's just something about him that just doesn't scream, I'm really ready to win a championship. They had their opportunity a couple of seasons ago when they were up on the Boston Celtics and they lost games that they should not have lost. And then they lost in the first round this season in 6 games. They just don't do it for me, man. Paul George hasn't proven that he's a winner ever since Indiana. That's when he was really, really playoff P. He ain't been playoff P in about 10 years.
Sheesh. Damn, PG
Kev just set the motherfucker, the state of the city of Philly on fire, bro. That's crazy. Go ahead,
That's a fact. But I gotta say I like what all the additions that they brought on over here, and I think that the additions of Andre Drummond will be big for Embiid, simply because Andre Drummond can go out there and allow Joel Embiid to rest. You know what I'm saying? Last year they relied a lot upon Paul Reed. I think Andre Drummond is a big step up for them. And then you got Robert Covington, who's come in that can be another guy if they want to go like a small ball lineup. And then this young kid who it's summer league, so we can't overreact to it in Adam Bonner, but he had a decent summer league and hope that he can develop. And, because I think the most important thing is allowing Joel Embiid to see games, but you don't need this man playing heavy amount of minutes every single night. But I feel like they added shooting, they added length, they added everything that's necessary. They're not necessarily top heavy, which we've seen the last few years kill teams. I think they are well balanced, especially with guards coming off the bench like a Reggie Jackson, a champion in Kyle Lowry. So you got some championship pedigree in the locker room, and he's a hometown kid. Kev, you got him what, 4th, 5th around there? I'm gonna say to me, I'm gonna say they're about 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
I look at one stat that keeps standing out to me in regards to the Philadelphia 76ers. When Joel Embiid was on the floor against the Knicks in the playoffs, they outscored the Knicks by 9.3 points per 100 possessions. When he was off the court, they got outscored by 47 points. He had to stay on the court for them to even be in those games. I think they've done a good job at adding in additional players. Like, it's a lot different looking at Paul George and Caleb Martin than Tobias Harris. Like, I just think that they've drastically improved where they were, and they weren't that bad, even with Joel Embiid being as injured as what he is. If you've added in now a buffer that can help you keep Joel Embiid more healthy, I will not be surprised if they have some, because they had a really nice differential last year. If they have a better differential even than what they had, you just don't see Joel Embiid after 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, because Andre Drummond is good enough to go ahead and bring you home in that case. You got Paul George, you got Maxey there. They better be good enough to go ahead and close out those games. So because of that, I do think they're a threat in the East. I'm not ready to put them above the Knicks right now, but I do think they are a threat to come out that East. I just got to see if this all is going to come together in reality, like it looks like it's going to come together on paper, before I feel safe in saying that. But I like their additions a lot.
I want to add on Kenyon Martin Jr., a nice young athletic player also, and Kelly Oubre too. So
I like Kelly Oubre.
So this,
and he was good for them last season.
He was good for them last season, and he's going to have a significant less role. He's going to have a lot of responsibility. This team is stacked, dude. Maybe one of the most stacked teams in the NBA, to tell you the truth, when you talk about stats and players. So you can judge them, because I picked them all you want, but they just got to play.
It's not about you. My thoughts about them.
No, that's how you started off your
no.
Throw you some shade,
right.
Like,
it wasn't about you. My thoughts on them were way before we had this conversation. I just don't trust them. I don't trust Joel Embiid. I don't trust Paul George. I just don't trust them.
Fair.
As leaders of teams, they just haven't shown me enough. That dig on you was just simply because of how the last 3 years you was screaming the Clippers was going to win the championship. So, that's all.
Look at him. He had to look up. He had to admit that when he was like,
"This the Clippers East,"
and that's why I said you can go ahead and book it.
I can see where you're getting at with that. I can see what you're getting at with that. That's crazy. And their uniforms are basically the same color scheme as well. So. That's crazy. With that said, let's get into the next team in this division, in the Atlantic Division, the Toronto Raptors. No major. Davion Mitchell was their addition. Gary Trent as well. Nothing too crazy here happening with the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are a weird team, right? Because last year we all knew that they were looking to break up some of the monotony that they had with similar players, all those 6'7" wings that had to play a shooting guard, a small forward, or whatever. You now are clearly building around Scotty Barnes. I'm guessing that quickly still going to be a big part. RJ Barrett, you got some nice pieces there. Grady Dick's probably going to be starting off the season, starting in the starting lineup. You still got Ochai Agbaji there, who's a guy I really liked in his draft. Bruce Brown is a solid bench player that I think is trade bait, because I think they're going to trade him as soon as they can.
For sure.
How do you guys feel about the Toronto Raptors this season?
Can I just start it off? Tank for Coop.
Tank for Coop. Tank for Coop.
I believe they're going to be.
You got to get that Dick Flag combination out there.
I believe that the Toronto Raptors, like you mentioned, Haize, Scotty Barnes, I don't think Scotty Barnes is necessarily a bad player. I'm just not so high on him. RJ Barrett, I don't think he's a bad player, but they got a lot of nice young players that can go out there and gain some NBA experience and, gain enough experience to lose the games and then tank for Cooper Flag. That's just how I'm looking at it, especially with Masai Ujiri still running the show. I think they overpaid on Emmanuel quickly. I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they're gonna be right there at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, in my opinion.
You know what Scotty Barnes feels like to me, and I know I'm gonna get murdered for this, not in play style, but in impact. Do y'all remember after the Philadelphia 76ers traded Allen Iverson, and for that next 2 months, Andre Iguodala looked like he was going to be the guy.
Right?
Yeah, he had. I remember that.
And he, like, literally, I think he scored like 25 points per game the next month after AI went down. Scotty Barnes is very much in the similar situation. Yeah, they traded a lot of players. You got to rebuild around him. He averaged almost 20 points per game the month after the dust settled and they traded all the players. But Scotty Barnes feels like, to me, a really, really high-level role player. But if you make the mistake of building around him, you're going to regret it. You have to get a better player. And much to Bobby's point, I hope that they do trade the Bruce Browns, trade the Ochai Agbaji, trade the Jakob Poeltls, because you need more talent here if you're going to really succeed. If you fall in love with the fool's gold thinking that Scotty Barnes could be your franchise player, I just think that you may have a fun saying, oh, Scotty Barnes, he's getting the numbers for maybe a year or two, but you're going to find yourself looking back 5 years down the road and be like,
what did we
do? Just wasn't it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Orlando tried to build around Aaron Gordon. He had the talent, but he's, like you said, a really high-end role player. And when you put him in the right situation, it's just like your comparison with Iguodala. Once he gets to Golden State, he's winning championships because he's a really high-end role player. So at the end of the day, I agree with you guys. I don't see Toronto doing too much, not let alone in the Atlantic, but the Eastern Conference in general. They won 25 games last year. They'll probably win just about the same amount of games this year, maybe one or two more, but I just don't see anything that jumps out at me that makes me think that they're going to be even one of those good young teams on the come up that can fight for a play-in spot. It's just not going to happen.
Let's just be frank. Like, if you look at their roster, they don't have anybody that like scare you. Like, okay, even though we were bad last season, the Chicago Bulls, you knew DeMar, he's going to be in the mid range. He's going to get his buckets. But when you look at the Toronto Raptors, you like, man, they just missing a lot of talent on this team. I agree what Drip just said. Like, they need to be like heavy sellers this season. And tanking is like the only option I see for this team, bro. They need to be selling Bruce Brown Jr. He can help a playoff team. You got Chris Boucher out there, and Davion Mitchell. Like, they need to be selling, dude. Like, this team is going nowhere but to the bottom of the conference. Sorry, it's just not good. The talent is not good, bro.
And the NBA had the nerve to have this team in their power rankings ranked above the Chicago Bulls.
That's right. That was so crazy.
Nuts,
bro.
You talking about like going into next season?
Yeah, in the power rankings, they had the Bulls ranked as 12th, and I believe the Raptors were ranked at number 10 in the Eastern.
They were 10. So it was the Hawks at 9, the Raptors at 10, the Pistons at 11, the Bulls at 12.
But the Bulls ain't do nothing. I mean, like, they brought it on themselves. When we talk about the Central Division,
yeah,
get deeper into it.
Fair enough.
So they brought it on themselves. I can't be mad at nothing that nobody said about the Bulls.
I feel that.
I'd be mad. This is a trash ass team.
You making it seem like the Bulls ain't trash.
They better than this trash.
We're gonna have to see. That remains to be seen. Now I get it. I get it. The Bulls still have Vooch and they still have Zach LaVine. That automatically makes them better than the Toronto Raptors.
I'm not even thinking about Zach and them, though. You hear me? I'm thinking about our young pieces.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And that's one of the biggest questions that they got to answer this season is like, is Scotty Barnes the guy that they can build around? I can tell you that. I'm telling you right now, if the Raptors, anybody, no, Tank, no, he's not it, bro. Nah. He's not it. Like, very good basketball player, very, very good basketball player, but he's not a guy you can build your franchise around.
Go ahead and try, though.
You got to show me. You got to
go ahead and give it to. Go ahead and get an old college try. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If that's your bag, fill it out. But the one team that we do know is going to be worse than the Toronto Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets, last team in the division. I'm just going to start this one off right now. What the fuck? No, like, major departures. Mikal Bridges. They changed coaches. They got Jordy Fernandez is the new coach there. Bogdanovich, Zaire Williams are their new acquisitions. All I can say on this team, the most positive thing and take that I can say on this team is Cam Thomas better be on your fantasy team because that nigga's getting up every shot. He is getting up.
He just get buckets.
He may average the most shots in the goddamn league this season. Cam Thomas is going to get every.
He's going to be
bit.
chucking them.
He is chucking everything. Him and Nick Claxton got the green light to go at whatever they want. And Cam Johnson, they get that trade value up because I guarantee you this right now. The only thing the Brooklyn Nets may lead the league in this season is trades because Ben Simmons, they're going to try to get his ass up out of there. Bogdanovich, as a veteran who can still shoot and stretch the floor, his ass is gone by the trade deadline. Cam Johnson, his ass is gone and up out of there. But that's it. Cam Thomas is about to get shots. And that's all I can say about this team positively. If you play fantasy sports and you need to pick up somebody who's on the last one of your pickups, Cam Thomas on your fantasy, that's the best thing about the Brooklyn Nets because they are about to be fucking trash, bro.
I can't believe Ben Simmons still on this team, bro. I can't.
What else can he?
Nobody want him.
When I look at it, you are right, Drip. It's
Ben Simmons can play for the offensive line. No, he's too soft. I was about to say he got the size playing the O line for the Bears, but he's too soft. Go ahead.
Yeah, they got a lot of young talent on here. It's definitely a sale type team. I'll just forget about it. They tanking too. Let's forget about it. I'm just looking at the talent too. They got some nice talent that can help other teams, bro, because they ain't gonna do nothing with them. They just out there trying to lose games. So it'd be best to like trade some of these guys, bro. I don't know how they gonna get Ben Simmons off the team. I don't know how they gonna
But
do
not
that.
Ben Simmons ain't he not even gonna be there to be traded. That's first and foremost. And secondly, you're right. If Cam Thomas don't average at least 25 this season, something wrong over there. And I'm not even talking about an efficient 25. Like he gonna shoot like 30 shots a game.
Yeah. He might. He might, bro.
And the problem
Who else
is
gonna
as well,
score? Who else?
And the problem is this. Now they do own their own first round because this is a team that doesn't own a lot of their own first round picks. They own their own first round pick in 2025. So yes, tank everything. They could have 3 first round picks this year because they have their own pick. They got Milwaukee's pick and they got the New York Knicks pick. Tank.
Oh, they tank it for sure.
Tank. So you better hope you draw gold. You can get Coop and Ace. Do whatever you gotta do. It ain't fair, but I'm just saying.
If they get both of them, they're gonna find a way to ruin it.
If I'm their owner, every time y'all win, I'm in the coach's office, bro. What the fuck? I thought we talked about this. What the fuck y'all doing, bro?
They gonna be the first team with 0 wins.
0-82.
And that still don't guarantee them the number 1 pick.
I know,
and that's the problem with it, right?
Yeah,
they're gonna end up with the 12th pick, get going 0-82.
Yeah, but they just got a bunch of. I'm not gonna say all the players on here are trash, but it's just they don't have enough talent. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Nick Claxton. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like him. I like Dennis Schroeder, but I believe he ain't that guy that's gonna go ahead and push the needle for you anymore in this NBA. And we know what Ben Simmons is. It's just a lost cause, bro. He just here to collect this check.
He just rich as hell.
Let me ask y'all this question: could they be a contender to win the least amount of games ever in the NBA?
Yes.
I know the Bulls
record is 6 wins.
Yes.
6 wins.
Who did that?
That was the Steamrollers in 1947-48.
But give me modern times.
There were only 48 games played.
Okay.
So if we're talking about a full 82 game season, right? Full 82 game season, because the Bobcats won 7 games, but that was a shortened 66 game season as well.
Mm-hmm.
The full 82 game season, the least amount of wins ever was the Philadelphia 76ers with 9 in 1972-73.
Damn, bro.
I'm not gonna say
is that
nobody.
a Dr. J team? That's not a Dr. J team.
Ain't no way. I'm not giving no team less than 10 wins, bro. That's wild.
I think they
got 10 wins in them.
If we're talking about the modern NBA era, the least amount of games ever won in the modern, if we're talking about the last 20 years, was the Philadelphia 76ers in 2015-16. They won 10 games.
They gonna face the Lakers. Lakers gonna rest their people. Cam Thomas gonna give you 40. That's one game.
One game.
They can win more than 10 games.
Under 10.
We're seeing it happen in baseball right now. You never thought you'd see a team lose as much as the White Sox losing, so you never know, bro.
Hey, it's for their own good though. Lose. It's for their own good. Lose.
But it ain't this ain't football though. Like, so you can lose all them games just like Detroit been doing and end up with the 5th pick. The 4th pick,
the best possibility. You get the most lottery balls with the most losses. You want all advantages.
You want the highest chances to get either ace or Coop.
I feel you.
Lose. Like I tell you what, if the damn Brooklyn Nets win more than 15 games this season, somebody getting fired.
For real.
Yeah, for sure. No.
If I'm the owner, I say everybody get a bonus if we don't win past 15. Everybody get a bonus.
Somebody find out.
We need Coop.
That's ugly. Well, that was a really good division to break down, man. Any last thoughts overall about the Atlantic Division before we close out the show today?
They switch up. They mix up the divisions when they do the NBA Cup, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They already put that out. I think like 2-3 weeks ago. They put it out.
Let's forget that question. Okay.
For sure. I ain't got nothing else though. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, subscribe to the channel. We here.
Absolutely. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799, with the number 1 spot for everything basketball related. We out here. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.